What's going on, guys? We're here at Osaka Expo 2025, where we just met Mark and had a wonderful conversation with him about collectibles. And although it's not card directly focused, we do talk about cards, we do talk about collecting pop-up books, and I know you guys will love this. Watch it and let me know, well, not me, because I know you guys will love it. So cue the video. Cue the video. I never thought I would be shooting right now. My name's Derek.
Derek. I'm Mark Elwood.
Nice to meet you, Mark.
You know what? Let's go.
Sure, yeah.
I'm Mark Elwood from Toronto, Canada. I don't collect cards anymore, but when I was a kid, we did for sure. So these are baseball cards, hockey cards, and they came in a little pack, as cards do today, I presume. But they have bubble gum in them. So you chew the double bubble gum or whatever, you get a pack of 5 or 10 cards. But here's what we did with them. You'd buy a whole bunch, you'd get a stack, and we had competitions. So you'd go to the school, you go a school wall maybe about 15, 20 feet away, you take your cards and bend them just a little bit to make them aerodynamically fly. What you could do is flip them to the wall, and the card that was closest to the wall won. So maybe 5 of you were flipping cards. My card's closest to the wall, I pick up the other 5. And we'd end up with stacks of these things really tall if you're good at flipping cards. And so that's what we did when we were kids.
And you know what's so funny about the story is a lot of those cards that you're mentioning about right now from those bubble gums is actually worth like hundreds of thousands or maybe millions of dollars right now. And I think part of that contribution is that game that you guys used to play where you had to bend the cards and flip them. And because you guys used to do that, that damages the cards, right? The condition of the card will no longer be in this condition.
Yeah, certainly bashing against a wall, it's gonna dent that corner a little bit.
Right.
I had a stack maybe 3-4 inches high, way back, but I didn't want them anymore. I seem to recall taking that stack, being out in the schoolyard and throwing them up in the air,
right,
and everybody would scramble and pick up their cards, and that was it for my card collection. Don't collect any anymore. I have one old Canadian comic, Captain Canuck, I think it's called, but don't have any cards. I'll leave that to others to build those collections.
Right, and I think that's another thing why it's so expensive, right? Like old comic books, old cards, like even like your pop-ups, right? You have ones from very long ago. Like those are probably also worth something as well. There's collectible books, like there's like first edition J.K. Rowling books about Harry Potter that sell for thousands of dollars. So there's really a collectible market in every single space, and that's kind of also why like the prices for cards have gone up so much. Because baseball cards are really cards. Like the Honus Wagner card is notorious for being the most expensive card because they used to go through bubble gum cards, and I think there's only 11 or 12 copies known to still exist. Those cards sell for over $10 million.
Wow.
So just like probably those cards that used to grow in there might be cards back then that were worth.
That's okay.
And I think that's the same with Pokemon cards now, right? Is that before sports cards, collectible trading cards such as like this used to be just seen as like a game that people play. But I think now we've reached an age where... Huh? It's a tripod.
Yes. Hello. Yes. Hello. Okay, it's fine. Yes.
So these card games, people used to only focus on sports cards. So now these collectible cards that people used to play with are getting super expensive. And we are kind of moving into an age now where right? Like people used to buy art, and that used to be what used to be considered vintage and like NFT. But now we've moved into an age where cards have become more important, right? And collectibles, anything that brings nostalgia is now what influences.
Hello.
こちら
Je parle français, je ne comprends pas. Okay, je ne comprends pas.
Short, this is short.
Okay, thank you.
Look, very short.
Okay, thank you. Well, merci beaucoup. Okay.
手のひらサイズ
10?
手のひらサイズショート
We got spirit, yes we do. We got spirit, how about you?
Okay.
縮
We're
めてくだ
almost
さい。
okay. Almost done. Okay.
We've been talking about sports cards, collectible cards. I presume there's also people who collect playing cards.
Yes.
And there's one, I told you my story about flipping the cards. So if you look up the magician Ricky Jay, he passed away a few years back. Ricky had a few tricks, and one of them was taking playing cards and flipping them really fast and really hard. Like heck. And he could make a playing card stick into a watermelon.
Oh, wow.
Watermelon's got a pretty thick, tough exterior.
Right.
And he'd try a couple of them, and then boom, it would stick into the side. That's how hard Ricky Jay could throw a playing card.
Right. That's crazy. That's
But throwing your stuff, that's gonna damage them for sure.
Definitely.
I don't think anybody's doing that.
I
with
don't
your
think so.
cards.
I think even playing cards too. There's definitely like a collector's market for that.
Probably yes.
There was I think especially now there's like playing cards like bicycles. Sometimes they do like collaborations with like even like Pokemon, right? For example, and they would make collaborations and put those like Pokemon as like the numbers or as the cards, and then those cards are actually also worth something too, just because there's another creature. So.
Well, that's all I got on playing cards and collectible
I mean,
cards.
I think the thing with collectibles cards is that these cards are really just like it's like a symbol, right? It doesn't necessarily need to be cards, but it's the fact that we all collect, right, as humans, and we all, like you said before, that it's something that we all collect. Like for you, it's pop-up books. For me, it's cards. It's really the same. It's the same thing, right? In essence, it's the same thing. Like the reason why I like to look at cards and the reason why you like pop-up books kind of all stem from the same source, right? Like the reason. Like, can you get into a little bit more about like why you like pop-up books again?
So I mentioned my first pop-up book I bought in New York back in the late 80s or something like that, and I was just delighted by it. It's a form of art, it's a form of expression, it's a form of storytelling. And there was something about the magic and the construction of how that worked that intrigued me. We're here talking at Expo 2025.
Right.
And I had attended Expo 67 way back, and that impressed upon me the sense of wonder, the sense of just fascinating stories that are told at all these pavilions. And so the pop-up book had its own story, and that sense of wonder is what impressed me, along with the physicality of it. And so I just kept buying more and more of them. Some of them are art types, some of them are Star Wars, some of them are, I had a Beatles one that played a little bit of Beatles tunes. And so I think if you have a collection, for me, you have to be a little bit careful you don't get obsessive. Oh, I gotta find every one on the planet. Because that becomes a non-valuable kind of pursuit. You're driving all over the place, you're trying to find this last one, and that takes away from the enjoyment.
Sure.
At some point you need to enjoy the cookware you've purchased or the artwork that's on your wall or the pop-up or the cards. You need to enjoy them for their original purpose, which was to be looked at and admired. And what's in them? We talked about sports cards. Well, there were statistics. You enjoy following the game, and there's the statistics about the player. I don't know Pokémon and how all that works, but there's a relationship between the characters and so on that's fascinating. There's different levels and so on. And so I think you've got to continue to find that enjoyment. The enjoyment isn't about the pursuit, although there's some fun in that and discovering something, but it's about the art itself. And art is all about our relationship to the world and our relationship through these symbols and this beautiful artwork that's created.
I think it's interesting that you say the pursuit isn't as interesting or as a purpose, because I feel like for me, that pursuit is part of the reason that makes these collectibles so much more valuable for me, right?
Yes.
So I think for me, so one of my stories that I have is, and the reason why I decided to start my channel is I had an opportunity to fly to Norway to sell a set of cards because the collector in Norway really wanted the set. And I just happened to be selling it because at the time, a different seller came up to me offering to sell me one of the rarest Yu-Gi-Oh cards in the world. So it just so happened that fate connected us to for me to fly to Norway, and then I flew to Italy afterwards to make this transaction. And I think part of the reason why it's such a big story and how it impacted me so much is because of that journey, right? Because I had a buyer in Norway willing to fly me out to Norway to sell him a set of cards, I was able to get the money to fly to Italy to buy this rarest box. And I think if it wasn't for that journey, and if I just had this box, this story wouldn't be as worth telling, and I wouldn't be able to pursue my passions and dreams.
Yeah, I suppose as I reflect on that, going to the store and flipping through, there's something ritualistic about that. There's something interesting. There's a sense of discovery. I guess my point was, I wouldn't want to see someone who just took it to an extreme that it would become a chore. And so as long as you continue enjoying that pursuit, and I still go to bookstores and look around for pop-up books, but I don't do it obsessively, and I don't buy every one, so I'm a little selective. But that's me. Other people have their own hobbies.
I think as you get deeper into collecting, what you collect becomes more niche. Kind of like how when I collect cards, I just don't collect every single card. There's like so many different genres and like just like avenues and like things that you can like dive into, and so many people around this world also do that, right? So there's cards that are misprinted from the factory when cards are misprinted from the factory, and there are people who designate who like just only collect misprinted cards, for example. And just like for me, this card is a hero archetype. So I'm trying to collect every single hero archetype card, like the rarest version of that card out there. And because I know that if I try to collect every single rare card, it's impossible because I'm also not in that financial position to be able to do that. Right? So I think, well, I don't know if you do, but have you tried doing research on rare pop-up books and tried to buy like rare one-of-a-kind pop-up books?
Well, I haven't. I think going back 100 years, there might have been there were some elaborate puzzles that used to get produced. You'd bring those puzzles home and sliding things would happen and so forth. So it kind of evolved into pop-up books. So I haven't pursued that. Might someday, I don't know. But I don't want to get carried away. I want to take the ones I've got and read them.
Right.
And just, reading one a month or something would take me quite a while to do, and then I'm cycling through them all over again.
How many pop-up books do you have?
I've got about 100.
Wow.
And they're different styles, as I mentioned. Some became quite elaborate. A pop-up book, the size, there are images that can pop up almost 15 inches out of the book, which is quite something in terms of the manufacturing and how do you mass produce those things. You can mass produce all the little pieces, then you have to get glued together and so on. You wonder how does all that happen? And quality control, so I'm a little bit intrigued by that.
What's your favorite pop-up book that you have, and why is it your favorite?
The favorite one I own is probably a series, this one called this big black dot or big red dot, and you open it up and you have to find out where the dot is inside the images, and it's just really pure abstract art. There's no story there, unlike the Star Wars ones. It's just an abstract piece, and that really intrigues me. That someone thought that our engagement with this book would create it's an artistic experience.
It is, right? It really is. Like I can imagine what you're saying right now, like with that book. Like it's definitely like it takes someone who like really is obsessive with pop-up books in order to even create like a concept like that, right? And I think in that sense it's also similar to cards as well, because from old cards to cards now, the artwork has elevated so much. Like I wish I had a modern Pokemon card on me right now to show you just like how insane these cards are right now. But these companies, like the Pokemon company, they hire designated artists to draw the card, so it's like the full shape of the entire card. That also adds to the collectability now, and why so many people are now collectors, because of they just view these things now as art, right? Like people, I think as time gets older and people will value like actual art pieces less, but more so like things that are fused with art that bring back your childhood.
Well, I admire your passion. You're bringing value to the world, and I like the idea that you're finding the stories of the cards. And thank you for letting me tell you about my little story.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, you know, we're all collectors at heart, and I think that's what makes us human as well, is that we all have something that we obsess over, that we like, that kind of reminds us of our childhood, right? So thank you for telling me your story.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Mark.
Okay, great talking.
Can I give you a gift? So this is a Pokemon pack, and I give these to people whenever I do an interview with them or whenever I talk to them about cards. So I know you don't really know what to do with it, but maybe your kids might.
Okay.
Right. So if you want to give them to your kids,
They're
they'll
older.
definitely.
But I can open it up and
yeah,
enjoy
you can
it.
open it up and enjoy it with them. Partially why I started doing this was because when I was little, my dad, how I built a connection with my dad was through cards.
Oh wow.
Because I'm a first generation immigrant, my parents were always constantly working. So the only time I really got to spend time with my parents or with my dad was on weekends when we go to Toys R Us together.
Okay.
And whenever we went to Toys R Us together, we'd always just used to buy cards, and that's kind of how I developed my passion with buying cards. So maybe this can also help spark something.
I will
in your future.
enjoy that. What a lovely way. We started by this guy and have another wonderful, and perfect end to my trip here at Expo.
Thank you, Mark.
Thanks very much.
Great meeting you.
See you.